Welcome to the beginning of another shocking episode. I don't know if it is actually shocking, but I wanted to start off strong. A shocking episode that you will never be able to shut off. You'll have to listen start to finish no matter what. Shock 'em, Chad.
Wow, those are big shoes to fill.
How's the house build going?
I had to do some more. Believe it or not, house framers are very particular.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Not so much with the build, but at what needs to be done in order for them to come and actually stay put on site.
They
Because I
don't
was
like
told
mud.
they don't. That's fine. They're not working in mud. They're working on plywood, right? All the materials are neatly stacked in the driveway, right in the way of everything else. So I get a call 8 o'clock this morning to have my morning coffee. I'm unemployed. It's winter. I have nothing better to do. Sitting there enjoying my coffee, scrolling Instagram, the phone rings, and it's the builder saying, "Hey, the framers want you to come out and do some more grading. You didn't backfill the garage and the little bit in front of the house. Can you come and do that?" I said, "Sure, whatever. Give me 20 minutes. I'll be there." Got dressed in my winter bibs, went out there, put the forks on the tilt rotator on the 8-ton, moved a bunch of shit out of the way. Um, right about that time, they said, "Okay, we don't have what we need anyway. We'll be back maybe tomorrow." Oh, I used that time to fill the garage and widen the driveway even more. We have probably what's now a 10-car driveway, just for the simple fact that these people need parking. There's probably 600 tons of material in my driveway.
Nice.
So,
It's good to know framers are as unorganized as landscapers.
yeah, absolutely they are. Yeah, definitely
Roofers, movers, framers.
they are. Framers. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how that would work being a framer, like, because you have to work off the drawing, but you're outside in the elements. So either you're always running back to your truck to look at the drawing, or the paper is flying everywhere in the wind as you're trying to work. And it's cold as shit,
Are
right?
they
Like
are they building it from walls or are they building it from piles of wood? Like, are
what
they?
do you
Is it
mean?
like? Well, sometimes the stuff gets shipped, like the roof trusses and stuff, all already together.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
the roof trusses are going to come once the walls are built, right? But now it's just a stack of lumber. They got to do their magic
is
with
the
that.
outside masonry?
Uh, there's some natural stone veneer, and the rest we're doing tin. So it's going to
Nice.
be, yeah, it's going to be. I want super modern. My wife does not want super modern, but the rules are I get the outside, she gets the inside.
Ooh.
So,
Ooh,
and
how does?
what more could you ask for, right? I'm a landscaper. Got to
There's
make the outside.
going to be a
Yes.
clash of styles.
My domain is the outside.
Yeah.
Are you going to put a pool in, Chad?
Oh,
I think
Chad,
Chad's internet is
Chad, are you gone? Chad,
he's gone. We can still
oh,
see him. He's
oh,
still moving.
he's still there, but we can't
gonna
hear
put
him.
a pool in.
Oh,
Um, the electrician came by. Yeah, can you hear me now?
oh yeah.
Oh no,
You're going to put a pool in. Electrician came by.
I'm here.
Yeah, we hear you.
No.
Oh, we hear you. Can you hear us? There, you're back. Chad, you're back. You're gone again. Chad's
Uh-oh.
internet connection shot. Can you
I can
hear
hear you
us, Chad?
now. Is that
Oh,
better?
now we can. Yeah, now we can hear you. You're talking.
I'm back.
So, are you putting a
You
pool
guys
in?
are sort of back. Yep.
Nice.
Okay. Great.
Fiberglass or steel wall?
I am. It's gonna take probably fiberglass.
Yeah.
Because with dogs, I'm terrified of tearing a liner.
Mm.
And
I could
my
feel
dog
that.
just actually fell in the pool a couple weeks ago.
In the cold.
Can't hear you.
Oh.
In the cold? I don't understand what's going on with Chad's internet connection.
I know
in the cold.
it's working perfectly fine on
Soaking wet.
our end.
We can hear you, but you can't hear us.
Yeah, it's probably me.
Oh, it's you.
This country
100%.
internet.
This is all your. I had a lot of problems at the beginning of this
I can hear you a little
venture.
bit. I know it's me.
We can hear you the whole time. I can hear you guys a bit. I'm glad I can't type and talk, so I'm just going to read what you guys are putting in the chat. Let's do the whole episode like that.
Yeah, this is great.
I know it's my fault.
That's Chad. You have to tell who it is.
Oh, Chad, I know it's my fault.
Yes.
Mike's not responding now, so that's kind of weak. But is your internet fucked up, Chad? Okay.
Apparently.
Here's an interesting thing. This is something I'm reading on internet. Come back in. Oh, leave and come back, Chad. Maybe that'll fix you. Will that fix Chad?
Yeah. Unplug your router, Chad. Can you hear this? No, you can't hear this. This is great.
He can't hear it
Yeah.
at all.
Oh, you can? Oh, you can hear it?
Chad?
Okay.
Yes, Chad can hear
We
it.
can hear you. You can talk. We can hear you. Apparently not. Chad, unplug your router, wait 20 seconds, plug it back in, and then just rejoin.
He feels like Stephen Hawking. Well, then you'd have to go to the Epstein Island.
Oh,
Well, he did. I'm not telling anything. Have you not seen the memes?
yes.
Come on.
It's tons of memes.
The memes are incredible.
Bill Clinton too.
The Stephen Hawking going to the Epstein Island memes. He's Chad straight from the island. What is Stephen Hawking doing at the island? That's what I got to ask.
That's interesting.
That's quite the
question.
group. Him, Prince Andrew, Epstein, Clinton, all partying together.
That is quite the group.
What was going on that island?
Did you hear who was it? And this was known before. What Bill Gates said about going to the island,
No.
about how who is it? He said Epstein has a very interesting lifestyle. And when he was questioned on what he meant by that, he said, well, his drapes are very interesting.
His drapes are very... Well, supposedly that's why Melinda left Bill, because of the island.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah.
She gave an interview saying that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she
I
gave
didn't
like
know that was direct like that.
Yeah, she
was
gave
the
like a
actual
full-blown
reason.
interview saying that she was uncomfortable with his association with Epstein and the island.
Wow.
It's like an interview she gave.
Huh. I didn't go through the list of people. I didn't know.
There's a lot of people on the list.
I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, Oprah's on the list.
Is she?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, all the young girls were going missing from her schools that she built in Africa. She was going to the island.
No.
That's the rumor online, is that the girls were ending up on the island.
Oh, jeez.
I have no idea. I have here's an interesting thing I just read. It's someone put it out there. So this isn't me. This is just someone wrote it like this. My therapist once asked me, "Who are you?" And I wasn't allowed to say my profession, whether I'm a wife or a husband, or whether I'm a mother or a father. Who are you, Mike?
Okay. So nothing family related. And what was the first one?
You can't say your profession.
Okay.
You can't say you're a wife or a husband.
Okay.
And you can't say you're a mother or a father. Who are you, Mike?
Wow. That takes away a lot of things.
It does.
Because right now, everything that I am is my profession and that I'm a husband.
What are you outside of those things?
I used to do a lot of fishing. Does this count?
Fisherman. It does. Well, I think
these are hobbies, I guess. Yeah.
But it's a deep question. Who are you? So you're a fisherman.
I used to do a lot of fishing. I used to do a lot of snowboarding. I still love traveling. I haven't traveled in a long time. So I would say throughout my 20s, traveling was the biggest thing for me. And in my teens, fishing, snowboarding, hockey, especially, and into my early 20s, those were the things that were most important to me outside of working and outside of family.
Okay.
That's a deep question, though.
It is. Who are you?
That's the best I got right now. Who's PK outside of
I'm
being a
fat.
hardscaper?
Is that an answer?
That's an answer, I guess.
Who are you? I'm fat. No, I find this to be a really interesting. I don't. I mean, all I've done is this profession for a really long time. That's a big part, and I mean, obviously, for the last 16 years specifically, I've been. Okay, so that's not fair. For the last 14 years, the first 2 years, there's a large argument that I was a vacant member of my daughter's life. So, for the last 14 years, I've been incredibly focused on being a father, and so I can't be a husband, and I can't be a landscaper. So that's like I also played hockey like 3 times a week for a very long time. So I guess I would say I was a hockey player.
You're a goalie.
I'm a goal. Well, yeah, I am a goalie. So I was a hockey player. I liked cars for a long time. I was super into cars. I had a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
different. I had 2 different 5-liter Mustangs. I had a Z34. I had a Miata. I had a Chevrolet S10 SS. I had a Dakota RT. I had a Volvo 240 DL. I had a Le Mans, Pontiac Le Mans, 78 Pontiac Le Mans,
All at different times.
all at different times. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I've had like 30 cars.
Holy crap.
Great. It's great. Yeah. I had a Pontiac Le Mans, Volvo 240 DL, 1984 Ford LTD. I had 88 Ford Mustang hatch. I had when it got stolen, I had a Z30 Chevrolet Lumina Z34, which was a
Got
cool.
stolen.
The Mustang got stolen, yeah, out of my driveway.
Oh,
I had a Chevrolet Lumina Z34. Then I had a Mazda Miata, which was like one of my favorite cars. That car was sick. It was one of the original little bubble ones with the headlights that come up because I'm old.
oh yeah.
It was cool. Yeah, I had a lot of fun in that car. It was a fun car. I got rid of it. I had a S10 SS. Then I had a 86 Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra. Then I had a Dakota RT, regular cab, which was sick. What the hell after the Dakota? I don't even remember. Oh, I had a 2001 Chevy GMC Sierra 2500 with a plow.
Oh yeah.
Then I had a 2004 GMC Sierra. That was my favorite truck. It was a silver GMC Sierra 2500 diesel with a plow. Then I had a Chevy 2500, like 2005 Chevy 2500, no plow. Then I had a PT Cruiser
Oh, did
for a
you?
bit. Yeah, because that was when I had no, like, when I was living in the apartment, I had a PT Cruiser for a bit. Then I had the blue Chevy. Fuck, I had a lot and then I had a sick 2012 silver Dodge Ram 2500,
Huh.
with big set of tires on it.
So this podcast brings us in tons of money, and you have to buy a vehicle that's not a truck. What do you buy?
Whew. That's hard. A vehicle that's not a truck. So, just for the record, my dream vehicle I've always wanted to own is a 3500 dually. From the time I was like 14, I wanted a slammed crew cab dually, but square body Chevy because I'm old, right? That's what was around then was square body Chevys. So, I've always wanted a Range Rover.
Oh yeah.
To be realistic, yeah, I know they're super unreliable and junk, but I always wanted one. I always just thought they were neat. I don't know why. I think it's because they have a lot of brown leather. I enjoy a brown leather interior.
Oh, okay. So as long as it's got a brown leather interior. Does the
I
Veloster have a brown leather
No,
interior?
it does not. Veloster is not. Veloster is not on the list. What would you buy, Mike?
I honestly am not much of a car person or a vehicle person, but there's probably 3 cars that I would like to have just for the heck of it. Um, not that I would even go out and buy them, but a Dodge Viper that's red with white stripes going down it,
Nice.
and a Mazda Miata because that was a Gran Turismo video game, like first car that you use.
Oh, is okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's how I know Mazda Miata. And then probably the top priority would be the Jeep that's from Jurassic Park with the red and gray coloring with the
Oh yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Very cool. Absolutely.
That's my number one for sure.
Like the first Jurassic Park movie Jeeps.
First Jurassic Park
Yeah.
movie, that gray with the red with the Jurassic Park logo on it. That's like that would be my dream vehicle for sure.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I like those things. There's a guy used to have one around here that he used to drive like in the summers. I've been thinking about like what do you do? Obviously, I'm older than you guys, and I've been thinking about like what happens when, like the kids don't need it. Like, well, I still spend a lot of time driving to and from soccer, but when the kids are both gone to school or university or whatever in another year, like what happens to me? Like, what do I do? I spend an infinite amount of time driving, like 30 hours a week driving to and from soccer. Like, am I just lost? Am I gone?
Mm-hmm.
Am I disappear? Like, what do I do? So I've been thinking about maybe buying a car that I used to like doing my own work on cars when it was like a hobby, not something I had to do. So I'm terrible at it. So, and generally when things break in the business, it's, dependent on me to like, they need to be fixed fast. So you can't like sort of half fix them and then leave it and then come back and then leave it and then come back. So, but something like that, I could take 2 weeks to put a rad in and no one would care. So it would just be me that would care. So, Chad, are you back?
I'm back, as far as I know.
You seem back. So this is what we're doing right now, Chad. Mike and I have responded to this, and you will not have the advantage of having heard us because you're gone. But this is the question. My therapist once asked me, "Who are you?" And I wasn't allowed to say my profession, whether I'm a wife or a husband, or a father or a mother. Who are you, Chad?
I'm my dad in a more uniquely packaged way, I suppose. Anytime I reflect on myself, I think that I am who my dad was. I think.
Who was your dad?
I mean, in a mindset sort of sense, right? Like my dad was just a regular blue collar working guy, was a draftsman, really level headed, always did what he needed to do to take care of us and all that stuff, right? It's just, I feel like that is me. Like me and my dad would have been great friends if we were the same age person, right? Like if he wasn't my dad, I think anyway. I can't think of a better way to describe myself than a younger version of him.
So we both took it out in a different direction.
Okay, so you went.
I like your direction better than ours, actually, to be fair. Yeah. I think you had a way better take on that than I think I had no take on it and just copied Mike.
And I just went surface level because I don't go deep.
Yeah. So Mike was more about like what things he did that
hobbies.
Hobbies.
Oh,
that's why we were talking about cars. Because I used to have a 5-liter Mustang, and I used to go to like car shows and stuff, and it was something that I did that had nothing to do with being in a business or a father or a mother.
whenever you went to car shows, though, did you meet other car people that hired
Oh,
you
yeah,
to
that
landscape?
was definitely
Like,
the
is that
main point of going to them for sure,
to
was to try and meet.
other car people?
I think that I went mostly because it was an excuse to drive the car.
Yeah.
Like, what do you like? You have a 5-liter Mustang. It's obviously not reliable. It's a 1986 the car. Even back then, the car was 20 years old or whatever. It was just a reason to drive it somewhere close, and it was. Anyways, that's how we took it. But I liked your take on it.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe I
who
went
are
a
you?
little too deep there.
No, I liked
No,
it.
that was good.
I thought that was fucking amazing. It makes me re-evaluate what I said.
Chad, do you
Yeah.
have brothers or sisters?
I have one younger brother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So
Does he live in Cornwall?
no, he just moved to Perth. If you guys know where Perth is,
Oh. Ah.
Is Perth near Cornwall?
I think Perth is about 2 hours from Cornwall.
Which way?
West and then north. So
Further west.
further
Oh,
west,
so you're
closer to
west.
you. Yeah,
now you're coming closer to us,
yeah,
and then north.
then north an
What's in
hour.
Perth? What makes
Yeah. What
someone
does
want
he
to?
do?
He's a tech guy. He apparently at one point he worked for a company that designed bomb suits for the government
Cool.
or something like that. Yeah, I don't think he ever wore one, but I don't know. He was involved with the programming for that, and then the programming for some like nursing exams or something like that. I don't know. We're polar opposites. I'm hands-on, do-it-yourself business, and he's corporate computer guy. He can fix anything whenever it comes to computers, right? But like just complete opposites. So takes all
So
kinds.
on a deep level,
Is he tatted out? Sorry, I had to get that in.
no, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah, not quite as much there, but I mean he's got a corporate job, so maybe he couldn't be as much, but
Got it.
yeah. You're saying PK on a
I
deeper
was just
level?
saying. Now I'm interested in thinking about who I am if I don't define myself as those three people on a deeper level. So I think on a deeper level, I'm someone who doesn't give up.
Oh, I give up.
Resilient.
Yeah, or stupid. In the face of insurmountable odds, I just keep going forward.
I go for resilient, and then you take it the negative direction and go, no, maybe I'm just stupid.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think that I'm. Yeah, I don't give up easily. I've always lived, but see that comes back to work, right? I generally don't give up on a lot of things, or I just keep moving forward, regardless of what happens. I tend to I'm a personality where I just keep moving forward. I had another great thing come across today that I thought was amazing. And I don't usually write these things down. I usually read them and then whatever, and then forget about it. So, and here's like the gist of this is ideas are cheap, execution is everything.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
5.
Yeah.
That's
I think
a
it's
5.
5. Yeah,
That's
it was
100%
5.
a 5.
5 enough for
I've
me
heard
that I
so
wrote it down.
many people say like, "Oh, I had this idea, and then eventually somebody turned it into a business, but it was my idea first, or anything along those lines." But like, the idea is nothing. The execution of that idea is 100% everything.
It doesn't matter. Like, so even I think that to be entrepreneurial, you have to be more. You have to be a lot about execution.
Yeah.
Like Chad had the idea of building a house, and now he's building a house. A
But
lot of people.
I mean, I'm not executing it. The builder is
You are
executing it.
but you execute like.
I
How many
just
people
push
could?
play.
Yeah, but how many people had that piece of land and didn't get the permit, or didn't even call the builder?
One other person.
Exactly. So, well, someone owned the land before that person.
Yeah, I suppose.
I'm just saying. I think that ideas are cheap and execution is the difference between.
Execution is expensive though, sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
Right.
rot with
It's a
risk.
risk. Yeah.
Rot with
Yeah.
risk that people don't want to take.
Well, risk is an expense, right? Suppose.
What's the worst case scenario? You lose a bunch of money?
Yeah. You could die in the process, I suppose.
Yeah, I would say
I
to you,
think that
as
you could
someone
get
who,
sued, you could
You could go to jail because
go to
you
jail.
took
Yeah.
too much money and didn't execute on the promises of that money.
I would say to you, as someone who lost all the money and had nothing, it really wasn't that big a deal.
At the time, was it a big deal?
At the time, I just figured I'd keep moving forward and tried to make decisions that would, I don't remember what I was talking to someone else about this a while, like I don't know, like a week ago, and we were talking about how for that time for me, my only goal was to end up at zero. Because I figured from zero I could start again. I didn't care about being in the positive. I just didn't want to start again in the negative. So everything I did with the business that I had at that time was about achieving zero. If I can get back to zero where I don't owe any money to suppliers, I don't owe any money to equipment manufacturers, I don't owe any money to the bank. If I could just get to zero and start from zero again, even if I start in a parking lot at zero, I'm further ahead than starting in a parking lot down $50,000. And then the other thing I based it on was if I just continually went to work, no matter what the fuck was going on, no matter what was going on, my problems only get greater if I don't have any money. So that's how if I was going through I was going through a lot of different crises at the time, but if I'm going through that crisis, but I'm not at work earning money, that will only deepen the problem because then I'm going to end up at some point waking up going, okay, now I can fix all this stuff, but I'm not at zero. So I think even if you lose everything, but you only go to zero, for me, it just wasn't that. I don't have a huge amount of shit either though. Like I don't have a
You
goal.
do have a huge amount of shit. Compared to the average person, you have a ton of shit.
Okay, that's not what.
You've got what, 6 trucks? 7 trucks?
There's 5 big trucks and 4 small trucks.
Over $1 million in assets.
Oh, well, more than no, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of shit, right?
But even if I went to zero, it's better than going to if we take some risk and we end up back at zero and I have to start again. All right. I started at 45.
Do you ever start back at zero if you have all that knowledge and experience though?
No,
Depending on the risk.
No, I agree with you. I don't think you do start back at zero if you don't.
Oh, yeah, I see.
And the other thing is, if you can get yourself to zero, if things are going ship, like say you're taking a big risk, because this whole conversation came out of taking big risks, right?
Yeah.
In the last 5 years, I have risked going back to zero multiple times to get to where we are. Multiple times I've risked going to zero. But I don't care about going to zero because I've been there and it was okay.
Right.
So is this just a perpetual wheel where you're always going to risk going back to zero, or is there a buffer that you can put in between you and zero so that you are never at zero again?
I don't know.
Because the scariest place in my mind is that zero. I've never been at that zero since the beginning of the company.
I'm sure there's lots of people who could. It depends. You've been doing it for 12 years. What, 12, 13 years now?
Yeah, I think next year will be 13.
So 13 years, hopefully at 5, you might have been taking risks that could take you to zero.
I think in my mind, to mitigate the likelihood of us going back to zero, I'd like to keep a large bank balance. I think in my mind, that's the only thing. A
So
large bank. Go ahead.
to be fair, I was trying to get my life back to zero
Well,
after my money going away in an agreement.
yeah.
Do you know what
Yes.
I'm getting at here? Like,
Yes, I understand.
yeah. So I was trying to get my you're talking company wise,
Well,
and then
there.
I also started talking company wise. To be fair to you, but my original commentary on this was getting my life to zero. Like when I was 35, I had zero. I ended up with zero, like nothing. But I was okay with that because I felt like I'm a fairly smart person and I can rebuild.
Sometimes 0 is a blessing.
At that moment in my life, I was fucking thankful as fuck to be at zero.
Yeah.
I was okay with it. I was happy with zero because at zero, I could save money and get an apartment. So that meant my current situation was only temporary. If I had been like 50K in the like $50,000 now is different than $50,000 was then, but even it's still a lot of money. But like at least I wasn't like trying to pay off $50,000 then save for an apartment.
Or $50,000 plus $2,000 a month alimony or something.
But that's how big a risk would you take? Like what you're saying is you want to always have a buffer zone so you make sure your company doesn't go back to zero.
Correct.
And what I would say to you, what if an opportunity presented to yourself, all or nothing? You're all in and it wins and you get to go everywhere you've ever wanted to be in your life with the company. Or on the flip side, it could go to zero and you end up with nothing because you're all in.
No, I have a family to think of. It's not just me. It's not just my dreams that I have on the line here. It's not just, I have 8 workers who are relying on me for a paycheck and they're
Fair.
happy and they're comfortable where they are. It's not me anymore. I'm in the driver's seat, but it's not just me on the bus. Right.
Fair.
So, and to be even more fair to myself there, I think NDL has already surpassed what I thought it would be after 10 or 12 years. Like, I think we're doing very well for ourselves.
But to
Considering.
those, so I can think of a few instances where I thought that the decision I made could either take us to another level or tank us.
And you
Well, so
took
far I'm
the you
still
took the
still
risk.
alive, and so far I'm still
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever regret the risk?
I think sometimes it took me out of what my initial goals were, and I don't know why I did the things I did. Well, I do know why I did the things I did. It usually had to do with people and trying to help someone. But like when we bought the first dump truck, that was like the first triaxle dump truck. That could have easily taken us to zero. It
Trucks
probably
are a
did for a
great way to
bit.
go to zero.
Tremendous way to go to zero. Absolutely fucking tremendous way to go to zero is to buy some trucks. But I know that decision could have easily. That was probably the hairiest decision that I made in terms
trucks.
of like, well, no, just that truck. The rest of them are, once you have one, you fucking could go to zero any day. So buying 2 or 5, like, it's hard when you have one.
Yeah.
It's easier when you have more.
I'd say the same about workers.
I agree.
It was hard when I was one. It's easier with multiple. So the guy doing our retinning our shop is a one-man show, right? And he's been at it for a couple of years. Pretty new in business, I'd say second or third year, killing it for himself. But he went out and I think he slashed some tendons in the back of his hand.
Jesus.
Couldn't work for a couple of weeks or whatever, right? And then he gets in a hockey game or whatever, and he someone dislocated his pinky, something like that. So he was in a cast, and he's like, "Oh, did you see the pictures and everything?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. Like, I sold my motorcycle because I can't afford to get hurt anymore.
Right.
Like, if you had more than one guy, you're mitigating your risk of going tits up, right? Because someone can always work, or two guys can work, or three guys can work, even if you can't." So,
I have slowly, for for my whole life up till this point in time, I've always maintained in my own mind, whether it was true or not, that no matter what, I could just do the work myself. I could wake up in the morning and go do the work. I could wake up in the morning and go do whatever needed to be done that day. I could lay the pavers, I could build the wall, I could plant the trees, I could dig the holes. For a long time. So when I at the previous at Ridge Lake, when that started, it was just me and this one, my brother-in-law Andrew, when it really started at first. And I would say to people when they were fucking around, this company started with me and Andrew, and I'll fucking take it back there in a heartbeat. We got her done. We got her done, and the company did well. And I'll fucking take her back there, and the two of us will do it again. And I've often, I always like to think, oh well, I could do that again, But at 50, and in my current physical condition, not being able to walk 200 meters without being in severe pain, and can't breathe anymore because my lungs are full of concrete dust. I now know that like we need everybody, and that's scary to me. Like I can't do it all by myself. I can't. It's scary to me that I can't do all that anymore. Like I couldn't say, fuck it, I'll just plant all the trees. I don't know if I'm physically capable of planting all the. I'm hoping to work my way back to being physically capable of planting all the trees, and I am taking, for the first time in my life, taking self-care seriously. Well, at least half-assed. But I find that horrifying that I can't do all that. Like I've always tried to, in this company, I've always tried to book work trying to say to myself, well, if push came to shove, I could always just do that by myself if I had to. If I had to, I could get her done. Well, that ain't fucking true no more. I can't walk the dog around the block like without being in severe pain and not being able to breathe. So these are serious fucking problems. But we have great people who are loyal, and so I don't work, but it is a frightening prospect that, for me as a person, that I couldn't just do it all on my own. Like I've always just thought of myself as like, yeah, it might take me a bit longer, but I'd fucking get her done. Now I'm thinking, yeah, not only would it take me a long time, it would probably never get done because I would collapse and they would take me to the hospital. So anyways, that seems kind of negative, but it's not. It's more of a realization of being old and having drastically abused your body for many years. So but I did go to the, have you guys ever had like a real massage?
Yeah.
like with a happy ending?
No.
What you mean by real?
No, that's like a fake massage. I'm talking like go to an actual like therapeutic massage. No. So I have never had that done either, ever in my life. But I'm fully committed to self-care now. Well, so I said, I'll go get a massage, even though every fiber of my being says this is not something you should be doing. I don't know why. It just says don't do that. But I decided to go anyways because this is about getting healthy, not about my male ego or my fear of things that I don't know about. So I went to get a massage, a therapeutic massage, and his name is Sam, this guy. They said, you got to see Sam. You need Sam. I said, okay. So I met Sam, who's like mid-40s, athletic looking Chinese guy who is an expert at Chinese massage. So we're standing in this small room and there's relaxing music playing, and he has a mask on because he's, obviously dealing with the general public all day and he's trying to protect himself. And he says something, but he also has an accent, speaks kind of broken English. I'm not 100% sure what he said. Something about taking off my clothes and the sheet that's on this is good knowledge for anyone who's listening that hasn't had a massage, for sort of massage. So I'm like, and he closes the door and says, I'll be back in a minute. So I felt I have a very small amount of calculated time here to decide what I need to do. I have no fucking idea. And this guy's coming back in a minute. And so I look around the room and there's the table, massage table, and there's a sheet on it. And so I decided, even though I'm not 100% sure what we're doing, I'm going to take off all my clothes but my underwear and socks and get under the sheet. And that was right.
Oh, that's good.
Or if it was wrong, he didn't say anything about it and he just let it keep going.
That's professional, if so.
I'm not sure it was the right decision, but he at least led me to believe it was the right decision to take off all my clothes but my underwear and get under the sheet. And then the massage was in an hour long, and I would say it is honestly one of the fastest hours that ever passed in my life. It was an intense experience. It was crazily intense to me.
Did they go hard?
Oh yeah. Sam does not go. That's why I had to go see
Sam.
Sam.
Not go soft.
The chiropractor said to me, "You got to go see Sam." So I went to see Sam. The first thing Sam did was grind his elbow into my back, and I thought that I was like going to puke, but I also didn't want to seem like a wimpy wuss. I did tell him it was my first time. So we go through the whole thing of the massage or whatever, and then he says to me, "You have a lot of scar tissue in your hip." Oh, that was so the first thing he says to me when we're in the room, when it first started, he says, "Where do you want to be massaged? What's your body? What's your problem?" I said, "I don't know, man. My whole body's pretty fucked. Like everything." It's like, "But what are the main problems?" I said, "Okay, well, my back and my hip is fucked up." He's like, "How did you hurt your hip?" I said, "I hurt it. I went one way. The guy went the other way. I tried to go back playing hockey. My hip popped." He's like, "Well, when was that?" I'm like, "I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago." He said, "What have you done since then to bring health to your hip?" I said, "I've limped." Tried to relieve the pressure by constant, steady limping. He said, "That doesn't seem like a solution." It's not, Sam. So anyways, he's like massaging my hip or whatever, and he says, "You have a lot of scar tissue. Do you mind if we do acupuncture?" And I said, "Sure," because the chiropractor lady's already done that, and I'm committed, so I'm not opposed to getting stabbed with needles. So, but I'll tell you, the needles that Sam uses and sticks deep in cause intense pain.
Wow.
To the point, like, you put the first one in, I was like, "Ooh, that stung pretty good." He's like, "Can you feel it running down your leg?" I'm like, "No." Oh, sticks another one in deeper. I'm like, "Whoa, that was, He's like, "Can you feel that one running down your leg?" I'm like, "No, Sam, I can't." He's like, "Okay, I'm going to put my thumb and the back of your knee on your calf, and I'm going to put this one in, and you tell me if you can feel it running down to my thumb." I said, "Okay." And when he stuck that one in, I physically screamed. And I have a pretty good tolerance for that. Oh my God. He's like, "Can you feel the pain running down to my thumb?" I said, "I feel the pain, Sam. God damn it, I feel the pain." And I wandered out of the whole experience. I stumbled out. Because the last thing they do with this, like thing with your head, and they're like massaging your head, and but the sheet is there, and I don't know what the purpose of the sheet is, but I didn't want to say, hey man, I have really shitty lungs and I can't breathe in this sheet, so I just kind of like for the last 8 minutes trying to keep my breath going and not reach up and grab the sheet. So then he says, I'm done now. I'm like, that's an hour? He goes, yeah. I'm like, holy shit. Felt like we've been here for like 8 minutes.
He put the sheet on you, turned the clock around, and
Maybe.
then took the sheet off.
You can get dressed now. All right. So he left. I got all my clothes on, and I like stumbling out of this room. Like, because my body's usually pretty fucked, but now it's like really fucked. He also moved my legs in directions they'd never moved before and told me how shitty my hip movement was. And I'm like, I'm aware, dude. I live here in this body. And and I'm stumbling up to the front, and the woman goes, that'll be $115. I'm like, holy fuck, okay, perfect. But 2 days later, for the first time in 6 years, my hip actually feels tremendously better.
Wow.
Nice.
And I'm only limping a little bit. So
I
I'm going to
went
go.
to-
So
Go
how many
back
more
to
times?
I'm going to go back to see Sam. I
Yeah.
like him.
Hmm.
He's direct and honest. You're a fuck up. And your body's fucked up because you're a fuck up. I can appreciate that from Sam. I like that kind of honesty. Go ahead, Chad.
I, I think it was last year about this time. I went to the doctor because I had sore testicles, and it
Jesus.
was like weeks of sore testicles, right? I'm like, and it wasn't like
Weeks.
unbearable. It
You
was
let
just
this
like
go for weeks.
a dull pain,
Oh.
and like there wasn't a huge amount of swelling or anything. It was just like they kind of hurt, like if you sat on them or something, and then like they were bruised or whatever, right? So go to the doctor. She's like, hey, drop your drawers and put this towel over your penis. So she just wants to feel the balls, right? She's like, oh yeah, there's a bit of swelling. She's like, there's no lumps or anything. You're probably good, but just for peace of mind, let's send you for an ultrasound. No problem. A week passes. They gave me some antibiotics or whatever. The swelling went down. I'm almost better. They're like, "Oh, come in for your ultrasound anyway." I said, "Okay, great." I go in. A girl younger than me. She's like, "Oh, I know your wife and this and that." It's like, "Oh, great." Like, and I don't care. Well, like, it's a medical professional.
It's
I'm like, do
absolutely.
you do this often? She goes, "Yeah, but usually they're like old people and stuff." I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever." She's like, "Okay, well," and she was nervous as shit, right? Like, I don't know. Apparently, this just is a nervous.
You are the Tom Cruise of Cornwall.
She's more nervous than I am. This girl, and she's like, "Okay, well, pull your pants down to your knees and put this cloth over your like penis." She goes, "Yeah," and so it's just your testicles out. And she's like, "I'll come back in a couple minutes." Comes back in a couple minutes. I'm sprawled out on the table, right, hands behind my head, everything. She knocks on the door. It's like, "Are you good to come in?" I'm like, "Well, there's not much more to see. Like, yeah, it's fine. Come on, come on in."
I've got
And
this towel on my penis.
I've got this towel. Like, not a big deal here. Like, when faced with illness, there are a million things worse than someone seeing your testicles.
Yes.
Right. So she's like, "Oh, I have to put the ultrasound juice on it." I said, "Go nuts. Do whatever you need to do for this thing that needs to happen here." And it's really, at the end of the day, it's not a huge thing. Not as gratifying maybe as Mike's massage, but I mean, it's just something that has to happen.
So what was wrong with the testicle?
Nothing, just some swelling,
Okay.
an infection or something like that. And like, I don't know how, but apparently it happens, and they've been fine ever since.
I have a few family members where, and I won't name names if they're listening, where one of their testicles has actually twisted.
I heard that's terrible.
The pain that I witnessed this person in it made my testicles hurt.
I can't imagine.
It is, And then they said that the relief that when the doctor
Untwisted?
untwists it is like incredible.
Think people would twist it intentionally just to feel the relief?
Well, there's a procedure that you can have it stapled so it won't twist again.
Seems aggressive.
Balls to the walls.
Yeah.
Balls to the wall. Absolutely. Do you think as a profession, contractors in general do not take good care of themselves?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Health takes a backseat to money 9 times out of 10.
Do you also think that that's driven though by the majority of contractors are male and ego driven? And like you just said, health take like this is health. Whatever you need to do, smear that jelly on my balls.
Yeah.
If that's what's got to happen, it's what's got to happen. I can say that previous to my current health situation, and I probably would have just said it'll go away.
Until your balls hurt for weeks at a time. Then you're like, this is something that needs to be addressed.
Well, yeah, but I also just think I would have probably, the whole embracing of like letting someone stab me with needles and stuff, that's a realization that I needed to. I feel like contractors nowadays take better care of themselves than people from my generation.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
I think they're more self-aware of long-term effects of generally treating yourself like a bag of shit.
I will tell you that after 2 weeks of being back at the gym, I feel exponentially better. Just being able to do things that I had resigned myself to not be able to do anymore. Like rake and shovel and get in and out of trucks and machines without huffing and puffing.
Yes.
Like I just thought that was normal. But that's not normal.
It's not, no.
But sitting around in a truck all day makes you feel like that's normal real quick.
The first thing when I was lying under the sheet, he hadn't even touched the sheet. He walked in and said, "You're a truck driver. How many hours do you spend driving trucks?" I said, "I drive a lot, bro. I drive from like 5 o'clock in the morning right through till 11 o'clock at night, man. I'm driving somewhere or sitting in some parking lot waiting for soccer to be over." Or I said, "I drive a lot, man, all the time." He said, "Yes, I can tell by the curvature of your spine." Perfect. Thanks. Didn't even know me. But yeah, I think that driving is hard on your like really hard on your body. I think it's.
Can they fix the curvature of your spine, or is that's
Sam put in a good effort.
He put in a great effort.
He said he taught me a stretch I have to do in the mornings where you lay your back. Yeah, he's working on it. I don't think my spine's super fucked. Well, I think it's super fucked, but I don't know if it's super curved. I don't know. Maybe we could test PK's spine curvature at the Mammoth booth.
That sounds good.
We'll each get on a machine and pull.
Test your chain.
Yeah.
Do you think if you've I've never been to a chiro. Knock on wood, I've never had extended, I've hurt my back once or twice where I couldn't walk for a day or whatever like that, but I've never hurt it for an extended period of time where it hasn't healed itself. Is it a bad idea to start now?
I heard once you start, you got to go again and again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hurt my back really, really bad when I was like 22. And I started going, and I would say I went regularly to the same chiropractor till I was 45. Twice a month.
$100 a month.
It made a tremendous difference in my life.
Only because you started from an injury, though.
So when I went there, I couldn't even walk. I could barely walk, and I was 22. And I was deeply scared of how am I going to survive as a person if I can't work. Because I think in this room, in this chat, we can all conclude that I ain't getting by my brains alone. I need to physically work. And for anyone that thinks that I say smart things, I wasn't saying those at 22. Knowledge I picked up along the way to 50. And so I started going, and it made a big difference in my life. And then to Mike's point, I don't know if I could have. So, like, for all those years, I don't know if I could have stopped going. Maybe I could have, and I would have been fine. But I wasn't. I think back then they charged $30 a visit, and for $60 a month, I was in no way willing to risk that. I wouldn't be okay. To go back, the potential of going back to the amount of pain I was in outweighed my need for $60.
Yeah.
So but then what happened was we live in Oshawa. When I was working at Perm, I was going there, but we live in Oshawa. Paisley Soccer's in Toronto. It was this huge rigmarole, and then I just didn't have, let's say I didn't have the time, I guess would be a good, I didn't have a lot of time, and I just didn't make time for it. And being that I hate new things and new people and new anything, I just refused to find a new chiropractor that was perhaps closer. So when we were away, I made a whole bunch of things I needed to do. Like, I mean, I never make lists of anything. I'm a pretty fly by the seat of my pants person, but I actually made a list in my phone of things I needed to accomplish when we returned home from vacation. Because I had concluded that I had been delinquent in a lot of areas of my life for a long time. Things like, getting divorced after 13 fucking years. Just number one on the list. But I started doing all these things, and one of the things was self-care because I felt so. There's a chiropractor that and a physiotherapist that Paisley goes to because she hurts herself frequently. And so they have a chiropractor thing. So I just started going there because it's like 4 minutes from our house. But once I went once, I was like, oh, okay, now I'm not scared of coming here anymore. I'm not intimidated by it. It's funny in life things that what intimidates you and what doesn't. Like,
True.
I could get up in front of a room of 500 people with nothing prepared and just start talking, and it wouldn't bother me for a second. I've done it. Or something that's very ill prepared or no actual thought of it wouldn't bother me. But the thought of going to a different chiropractic office kept me out of the chiropractor for 5 years.
Yeah.
Is chiropractic a doctor? Does that still count as a doctor?
I have no idea.
I think the person who made it was like a weird dude. And
It was something that someone from Aliens taught him how to do it or something.
I was just trying to figure out what it was. I just did a quick Google search. Apparently, the first back cracking was a janitor that he slapped on the back, and the janitor said days later that his hearing came back. But that's how he created chiropractic.
Well, I can tell you it works pretty good for me, but that doesn't mean it works for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody has to find their own way to good health.
Very true.
Well, I've also been starting every morning off with a shot of apple cider vinegar, lemon, and cranberry juice. You want to get yourself going in the morning, take that for a shot. I've been taking milk thistle, vitamin D.
What's that?
Milk thistle? I don't know. It's in a pill, so it doesn't taste like anything.
Okay.
Tastes like gel caplet. I haven't chewed it yet. I've been trying to be more health conscious and responsible.
Nice.
Never too late.
Never too late.
No, well, we'll see.
We need you here for many more years.
My goal is to walk the dog. Well, I can walk the dog, but my goal is to comfortably walk the dog and come back without. One of the problems is, and this sounds just stupid, the new dog is very large and strong and horrible to walk on a leash. So that on top of like walking, there's also excessive pulling and barking to deal with. So, but she's getting better.
I feel like in that situation, modifying both of your behavior is a better solution than just trying to fix you and not the dog, or just trying to fix the dog and
No,
not
I'm
you.
trying to modify the dog's behavior. There's not a double modification going on with her. Yeah. She is a very strong animal. But she is big though. Like she can put her head down on the table, like on the dining room table.
Nice.
She can just rest her head on it. She'll be sitting there. It's like she's tall. She's supposed to weigh 120 pounds. She only weighs 50 though.
Ooh.
Slightly melded. Well, she's bigger now. She's like 70 now, I think. 65, 70 pounds. Had her for 5-6 weeks.
Maybe you should wait to get her up to full weight till your hip's a bit better.
Yeah, we'll feed her
Imagine.
slow.
Yeah.
Listen, you're on a slow paced weight gain diet here. You're
Yeah.
fucking so
Yeah.
I hope people take better care of themselves than I did. That's me. I think whenever I see people like young people working on Instagram and stuff and they have masks on, that makes me happy as a person. Because I know how drastically impacted my life is from not being able to breathe properly. So that makes me happy. I think of the many times we would cut for months with no masks on. Yeah. So I am happy. I'm happy when I see people wearing safety glasses. X-Power eyewear safety glasses. Oh, that's nothing. Code PK15. I don't even know what the fucking code is. It's PK something. Try something random. Maybe it'll work.